that time, apartheid was reigning in South Africa. While white men were masters, black men were slaves. Although no one was against this, one man worked against this apartheid. He is none other than Nelson Mandela, the first black president of South Africa. Nelson Horishala Mandela was born on the 80th of July 1918 at Mwiso, South Africa. When we talk about his education, he attended South African Native College. Besides, he studied law at the University of Witwatersrand. He became a lawyer in 1941. Nelson Mandela was involved in politics in the late 1940s. He was just 20 at that time. That's how the revolution started in South Africa. In 1948, South African white-only government announced a new law called apartheid or racial segregation. With this, black people were prohibited from entering public places like restaurants, beaches, and many other civic spaces. Meanwhile, Mandela joined the African National Congress and started different campaigns against apartheid. The 1952 Defiance Campaign and the 1955 Congress of the People were two anti-apartheid camps organized by the ANC.
Demonstrations against the South African government's strict apartheid policies flare into shocking violence. At Sharpsville, an industrial township, thousands gather outside a police station in protest against new laws requiring every African to carry a pass at all times. The crowd refused to disperse and began stoning the police.
Mandela was repeatedly arrested for seditious activities promoting the anti-apartheid movement. He was arrested and imprisoned in 1962 and following the Rivonia trial was sentenced to life imprisonment for conspiring to overthrow the state. Nelson Mandela served 27 years in prison, split between Robben Island, Pollsmoor Prison and Victor Verster Prison. When Mandela served in prison, many racial civil wars were held in South Africa. In fear of a war, President F.W. de Klerk released Mandela in 1990. Mandela, together with the ANC, led efforts to end apartheid, which resulted in the 1994 multiracial presidential election, which Nelson Mandela won and became president.
Nelson Mandela's inauguration as his country's first democratically elected president is just days away.
On the 10th of May 1994, Nelson Horishala Mandela sworn in as the first black president of South Africa. This ended the apartheid law in South Africa.
More than 300 years of white domination ended for good with the swearing in of Nelson Mandela as this African nation's first black president.
So help me God.
Mandela served his position until 1999. Nelson Mandela united the whole South African nation and led their national rugby team to win the 1995 Rugby World Cup. Nelson Mandela is globally regarded as an icon of democracy and social justice. He received more than 250 honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. He had deep respect within South Africa. Nelson Mandela died on the 5th of December 2013 at the age of 95. Nelson Mandela is renowned as the father of nation in South Africa because of his patriotic activities.
That the greatest glory of living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time you fall.